something that you don't say. Uneducated, unclassy, like you could have said rude or a bad player. We chose uneducated and unclassy. The sports girlies are fighting. Hi guys, I'm Tati. Welcome to Tati's Media, where I get to inform you while offering my perspectives on different things in the media. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the tennis feud between Taylor Townsend and Jelena Ostapenko. As always, I want to preface this video by saying that I am not into cancel culture. Okay, this video is not to cancel anybody. What interests me about this incident is this a racially charged moment? And what are the public reactions? I am more interested in what this topic reveals about sports culture, the deeper issues in sports culture. So without further ado, let's unpack what happened. So at the 2025 US Open, Taylor Townsend and Jelena Ostapenko were going against each other. The match was going seemingly well, but the drama happened after the match. Jelena walked to the net and lashed out on Taylor and accused her of being uneducated and having no class. All because Taylor didn't apologize for a lucky net cord during play. What does that mean? Yep, we'll get into it. So for those of you who don't know, a net cord in tennis, if your shot clips the net and still lands in, it's illegal. But some players will still apologize as a courtesy, but it's not a rule. So it's like when you're out and you decide to hold the door open for somebody. You don't need to, but you still are able to. It's a socially expected thing to do. In tennis, apologizing after doing this act, it's a social expectation in the tennis world, but it's not mandatory. So because Taylor didn't apologize, Jelena deemed her as unclassy.
Tennis star Jelena Ostapenko was forced to deny being racist after she told Taylor Townsend she has no education and no class at the US Open. Ostapenko is notorious for her bad temper, and she became embroiled in yet another post-match argument after losing in straight sets to the American in the second round. In the wake of her victory, Townsend revealed to ESPN, "She told me I have no class, no education, and to see what happens when we get outside the US." Townsend then said, "I beat her in Canada, outside the US, so let's see what else she has to say." Ostapenko took to Instagram to deny any claims of racism, saying, "I was never racist in my life, and I respect all nations and people in the world. For me, it doesn't matter where you come from." Townsend was asked about any undertones of racist comments from Ostapenko in her post-match interview and said she didn't take it that way, but is aware of that stigma within the black community, which is the furthest thing from the truth. Townsend then posted to Instagram saying, "Belt to brought the fire. Some people can't take the heat. On to the next. Love y'all."
Competition. People get upset when they lose, and you can't. Some people say bad things. She told me I have no class, I have no education, and to see what happens when we get outside the U.S. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I beat her in Canada, outside the U.S. I beat her in New York, outside the U.S. So let's see what else she has to say.
Obviously, the problem here isn't just about Jelena being aggressive. It's about what was said and how it was said. People saying that calling her uneducated and unclassy kind of comes from a racially motivated speech. People are glad that she still carried herself with grace while responding to Jelena.
Townsend. 7.
Jelena apologized on her Instagram, stating that English was not her first language and she didn't mean to use the word education but etiquette. And you know, a lot of people didn't respond to that apology too well. People were saying that education and class just aren't words you get mixed up, language barrier or not. The people were defending Jelena and saying that, you know, English is a hard language, it's not her first language. You know, maybe she truly didn't know. I also want to take a look at some of the interviews that Taylor did in response to Jelena's apology and what happened with the initial showdown.
Saying I have no education and no class. I don't really take that personally because I know that it's so far from the truth and so far from anything. And again, if I allow what other people have to say about me affect me in that way, then they win. So ultimately, no, I stood up for myself and I kept in my mind in that moment how I wanted to portray myself and how I wanted to show up. And if my son were to see this interaction, how would he view it? And I think he would be proud of the way that I handled the situation.
That's nice that, you know, she did that, that she apologized. I mean, that's fine. That's cool. At the end of the day, I think that it's a learning lesson for her. Again, like I said, when everything first happened, you cannot push your expectations on other people. And that's ultimately what happened. She expected for me to react a certain type of way, and I didn't, and it infuriated her, and which led her to say things that are hurtful, that are belligerent, that are offensive, not only to me, but, to the sport and, to a whole culture of people that I try to do my best to represent the best that I can. So for me, it's nice that she apologized. This isn't the first, second, third, fourth time that, there have been incidences where she gets upset about a neck cord. So it's like not a surprising thing that she acted this way. But also we just have to keep in mind that it's competition. We're playing a sport, and, you can't get upset if someone doesn't do something that you want them to do. Like, who are you? I can't get mad that you don't do something that maybe I expect for you to do. And ultimately, when we get our emotions wrapped up in things is where we get our feelings hurt. And I think that that's ultimately what happened. So it's great that she went to social media and apologized. But I really hope that from this, she can take that like, hey, you can't control people. And it's better just to focus on yourself.
We love hearing from other people on this channel, so I think it's time to hear from some of these other creators now.
And something like, we'll see what happens to you outside the US.
Sounds like a threat to me.
That is a threat. And what I want to talk about is that it seems like, especially in women's tennis, and even though, because it's tennis and it's like a close quarters, like family type thing, everyone's really cordial. Like we saw it happen with Coco Gauff, and everyone's really cordial because they don't want to start this like ridiculous beef. And I think that nobody's trying to restart what happened between Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova. But I think we do need to call it for what it is. Saying that somebody has no education, no class, and we'll see what happens to you outside the US, that's a threat. And I'm sorry, that's really racially motivated.
But also, what do the first two have to do with tennis?
Yeah. We're playing tennis, you've lost, you're telling me I'm not educated. What's that got to do with it? What's that exactly? I don't need to count to beat you, actually. I've still won. Like, what is your issue? And why would you say that? And then she's come out to say, like, I'm not a racist, I just said what I said. That's weird for you to say that. For that to come
What happened to sportsmanship? Because
tennis has always been seen as, like, an elitist sport. And a lot of, like, the European tennis players get very aggy when a black tennis player beats them. And usually the black tennis player tends to be American. They do stoop really low. It is racially motivated. Taylor won't say it. Taylor's a black tennis player.
So what was Taylor's response?
She's just said the game's the game, like the racket's talk. Like she's just saying like it is what it is. And I think that they don't have a safe space to call things out, especially when you look at the difference of like the male tennis, Medvedev again, smashing up a tennis racket on the court. If Taylor does that now, what was that? Was it the French press that did that with Serena Williams when they played her like a monkey?
Oh my God.
Like the male tennis players get such like a wide, they can do whatever they want. They can throw their racket into the crowd if they want to. They get 10K fine, who gives a shit? But the women don't really get that. So she just had to like smile on her face, be like,
it's such a shame that it's her win and then this is kind of like, overshadowed it.
I'm just very impressed with Taylor's composure and grace in that moment. It would have been very easy to be caught cussing back or, calling her out her name. It was grace. She read her, but in the classiest way, in the heat of the moment. And I think perhaps there was enough maturity also to recognize the world is watching. Something that like Black women talk about is just understanding how much you're likely to be judged in this interaction and like just feeling the weight of that. And even though someone might be disrespecting you and pointing a finger and condescending, talking down, after you won, you are the winner.
Right.
And telling you what you are not. And for her to act in that way, and still you have to somehow give her the grace. You have to
take the
somehow
higher road.
take the higher road.
Yeah.
And it's a big burden to walk with. And she executed it to perfection, but it's just also like, excuse me, who are you?
What do you make of it? Was she just unhappy about the loss? Is this where it all came from? Because it doesn't feel like this is the worst thing that's happened on a tennis court.
No, it doesn't. And we'll get into their responses. But yeah, I feel like, again, Ostapenko overstepped the mark if we are to take what she said from Townsend. I mean, Townsend said, Ostapenko, told me I have no class and no education and to see what happens when we get outside the US. So, not nice things to hear. And it does sort of remind me of, the fact, with Daniil Medvedev, we spoke about, we saw, actually, did he take it a step too far this time? And, we've seen these sorts of outbursts from Ostapenko before, but I sort of wonder, actually, with this time again, did she overstep the mark? And did she overstep it with the wrong opponent? Because Townsend is one to kind of, if you're going to dish it out, Townsend is an opponent who's going to give it back. And, she should be able to kind of, if you can't take it, don't dish it.
Yeah, and she said she's riled up to play her outside of the US Open.
What was she expecting in front of a home American crowd?
Shout out to those creators. I really enjoyed hearing their perspectives. Now it's time to hear my perspective. It's time for Mind Over Media. Welcome to Mind Over Media. My Mind Over Media is where I get to offer you guys my perspectives about the controversy. As always, no hate is intended. These are just my perspectives. I feel a lot of things. Let's just go that we're giving Jelena the complete benefit of the doubt. Language barrier, she didn't know. Okay, cool. I still think that her aggression was just unnecessary. First of all, if it's really true what I'm reading, it's not mandatory to apologize. In sports, obviously it's important to have good sportsmanship. So it's like the fact that she's even being aggressive to Taylor to begin with is just really weird. And I don't think that's anything to do with Taylor being a black woman. I think that Jelena just has bad sportsmanship, as people have been reported in the past. However, the comments, let's just say, we're not giving her the benefit of the doubt, uneducated, unclassy. Those are just very specific things to say. English isn't her first language, so she could have picked that up from other people who might have been racially motivated. As some of the creators said, that this was definitely a racially charged statement. I don't think Jelena's racist. I don't think she's racist, but people can still say racist things, like, and not hate black people, you know what I mean? It's still something that you don't say. Uneducated, unclassy, like you could have said rude or a bad player. We chose uneducated and unclassy. I don't know about that. This isn't just about sports either, and I hate to really heavily focus on race in these videos, but since it is a topic on the conversation, this wasn't just one bad sports moment. It's a reminder of how fragile the expectations for black women in sports really are. Not just sports, but professional spaces. No matter how calm and composed and how you handle things with grace, even when other people are aggressive, you're still expected to play by rules that aren't made for you. Taylor's grace under pressure should be the headline. But instead, once again, we're talking more about how someone spoke to her than how Taylor even played. And obviously, once again, no hate intended to Jelena. I don't think she's a racist person, but I am definitely proud of Taylor for standing her ground and handling things with such grace. We've heard enough from me. It's time to hear from you guys. Do you guys think that Jelena's comments were just bad sportsmanship, or were they truly out of pocket and possibly racially motivated? And should players like Taylor be expected to uphold etiquette even in moments like this? What does real sportsmanship look like to you, and who should be the ones defining it? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you.